and advocacy I get from that team. So, without further ado, I want to introduce you guys to the credit specialist. Yes, tonight's episode, you guys, is all about getting your credit right and truly addressing it. And so tonight I want to introduce you guys to T. Rasan Elliott, owner of Trey Solutions. He is a credit specialist, credit advisor, and so many other things. But instead of me giving you all his stats, I'm going to allow him to do that for himself. Please, Trey, thank you for your patience. Jump on in.
Hey, thanks for that warm welcome, Tiara. Can you hear me okay?
Hear you very good.
Hey, first I want to thank you for inviting me to your the wealth building chats, because it's important to empower people. A little bit about me and my background. I am current active duty Navy, about to retire here in about 8 months, but that has nothing to do with what we're going to talk about today.
All right, Navy, woo!
Right. Today we're going to talk about credit and the fact that, a lot of things people don't know. And I'd like to do a conversation, but it's important because when I started this business, I thought I had good credit. And actually, according to the scale, I did have good credit. But then once I started peeling back the onion and learning a lot of things, I found out that I didn't know what I didn't know. And that having a good credit score qualifies you, but having an excellent credit score is what saves you money.
Right. That's absolutely true. And one of the reasons that I wanted to kind of have this conversation with you was the fact that, even myself and going through my current life situations, getting out of a marriage and realigning my entire future and finances during this past 2 to 3 years, I can honestly say my credit, even as a licensed realtor, a person that is a property manager that has to look at people's credit every day, is still not quite where I'd like it to be. And in working to repair it or create it, there are so many things that even I myself still don't know. I've been in the business. I've helped people, referred people to get their credit repaired. I've seen people go from 550 to 700 in 8 or 9 months or 6 or 7 months. And I've even seen people increase scores, and I know the basic things, just like we talked about in our first episode. So I know the basic things to get your score up quickly. But I definitely like to know what is a way to not only get your score up, but understand the basics of credit so that you can maintain good credit, right?
Right. Hey, so that's an excellent place to start, because in order to have good credit, first you got to know what goes into calculating your credit score, right? If you don't know what's going into it, then you don't know how to fix it, and you don't know where to begin. So like me, my parents always told me growing up, hey, make sure you pay your bills on time. Make sure you pay your bills on time. And I'm sure you've heard the same thing. But what does not paying your bills on time, how does that affect your credit? And what bills are they talking about? Right? So they're talking about the bills that are going to hit your credit. They're not talking about your light bill, your water bill. They're not talking about those. Although if you don't pay those, they can end up on your credit. But what they're talking about most times is your credit cards, your car note, your mortgage, things that are going to hit your credit. And that's important because that makes up 35% of your credit score. Paying things on time. Okay. One late payment can cost you up to 110 points on your credit score.
Right.
Go ahead. You had a question?
No, go ahead.
Okay. The next thing that affects your credit score the most is your balances owed versus your credit limits, right? So how much credit are you actually using versus how much can you use? So to make it simple, if you have credit cards and your credit card credit limit is $1,000, okay, you want to keep that what you use at least under $300 for good usage. For excellent usage, you want to keep that under $100, right? So you definitely want to stay under 30% if you can. If you can manage to get down to 10% or less, that's actually best. But you still have to use the cards.
Right. And see, that's the thing is that, I'll honestly tell you that I was raised to believe that you weren't supposed to use credit at all.
Right.
So that's the household that I came from.
Right.
And my dad, who was probably the one that was more fiscally solvent,
Hmm.
I guess would be the word, was the one that lived by that principle.
Hmm.
So for me, with him having passed, he passed my senior year of high school. So it's kind of like my financial advising kind of ended with his passing. And up until that point, he had always said, you know, if you can't pay for it, you can't afford it. And so that was kind of always the principle. Now here we are, fast forward quite a few years later, you know, 5 or 6 or whatever, you know, since high school, and 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 you figure that the reality is that I have learned many times over that that's not right. And you know, I guess the bigger thing is that not only maintaining those payments on time, but what are the things to do if you have never been taught about credit, and then you begin, I mean, and this is because this is not something that just affects younger people. As a matter of fact, what I see more as an agent that deals with people in my age group more so than anything, and baby boomers, you figure that it's not Gen Y and millennials that so much have the issues with the credit, and they historically have higher credit scores than I've seen in the Gen X and baby boomer kind of, you know, age groups, only because they've always used debit cards. They've started off using some form of electronic currency. So it's only natural for them to easily glide over into fiscal responsibility with the right guidance versus people that were like me, raised with either no information about financial advising at all, or just were taught to not use credit, you know. So then you go off and you're trying to do something like buy a house, or because they'll always approve you for a car. I mean, you know, you can get a car, like they say, with no money down, and really mean that, you know, and then you'll just be making bi-weekly payments of $700 on you know.
2004 Hyundai.
Yes, correct. I figured you could feel it. Thank you. Thanks for taking that one from me. So you figured, that's what I'm saying, is that you can always get a car. We know historically in our community that we are always approved for cars. Anything that's depreciating, they're going to easily give to us. But what I wanted to do with this platform was, you know, show people that no matter where you are in your credit, what are some good steps along with contacting you. So, along with contacting you, a credit expert that can actually sit down, have a one on one consultation, and assist that person or that family with reaching their credit goals, what are some other important first steps that they can take to try to reach their goals in the next 3 months or 6 months?
I'm glad you said 3 months to 6 months because I want everybody to understand that it didn't take you 8 years. I'm sorry, it didn't take you 2 weeks to mess your credit up.
Right,
It took you several years to get to that situation, right? So you can't expect that your credit is going to be better in 2 weeks,
right,
but there is hope, okay? And there are a lot of things that you can do unassisted, and there's some things that I can assist you with to try and get that 3 to 6 months, make that dream of bring it to fruition, right?
right.
So some things that you can do to increase your credit um, and first off, I want you to understand is I want everybody to give themselves a timeline, right? If you're on this webinar or you're viewing this from Facebook, odds are your goal is to buy a house.
Yes,
That's the American dream. So how much time do you have to buy that house? Basically, when is your lease up, right? When or if you don't have a lease, how far is it? How far are you from being up to here with the person you're actually living with? Do you?
or
Mhm.
another bigger thing that we see now in the market, and I don't want to cut you off, I just want to tag team on what you're saying, is how far away are you from your savings goal?
Right.
So, because a lot of times, especially in this 2020 market, and I can definitely see the trend continuing into 2021, is that we are in an aggressive seller's market. So what that means for home buyers is that beyond just needing your normal deposit, or down payment amount on top of your earnest money deposit, there is a lot of leverage in being able to pay your closing costs. Because there was times this summer where there was no way you were even getting closing costs from a seller. However, depending on how many houses are on market and how much competition there is for a property, you have more leverage the more you have saved towards your own closing costs and down payment, because there are people that are going to be more prepared. And not only will they be prepared to go higher on their offer price, but willing to pay all their closing costs along with the down payment. So, so in this market, one of the things that I see more, because in 2019, that wouldn't have been the issue. You could save your 1.5% and maybe an additional 1 to 2% for reserves and, any additional, just additionals, right? But in this market, what we're seeing is you need closing costs. And there are loan products, just to not confuse anybody, but I just, got to say, there are loan products that can assist also with that down payment, or rather money towards down payment or the things you may need to close. So you can actually get additional loan products that can assist with those closing cost fees. But traditionally or standardly in this current market, you're needing more money to close, even in the FHA 1.5% first time home buyer program. So 1.5 to 3.5% plus closing costs could be as high as 7 to 8%.
Right.
Okay, so just want to mention that. So when you're looking at, because a lot of the people that may look at this now or at another time may also be considering investing. And if you're going to do owner occupant investing to get started, that's another consideration, because that is a great way to begin building. That is a great way to begin building that wealth. However, you've got to be able to have the money to cover those incidentals up front.
Right. So you need to not only do you need to figure out about your savings goals, but you need to know where you stand as far as your credit. Are you close?
Mm-hmm.
Are you really, really close to qualifying for a mortgage? And if you are, and you got about 30 days, right, pay your credit cards down.
Okay.
Right? Get them under 10%.
Okay.
You're looking for a 10 to 15-point increase and you only got 30 days left
Okay.
on the mortgage or whatever, get those credit cards down to less than 10%. Don't
Okay.
count.
Okay. And that's a great tip. Okay. You said under 10%.
Yes.
Okay. And then what about, let me ask you this. So how much do medical bills play into your overall credit score? So a lot of the things that sometimes, people may not have that much credit or may have some revolving credit and it may be consistently paid, but then you have, $20,000 from the birth of a child or children that's still on your credit. How heavily does that hit you
So
on your?
it really depends. Are those medical bills, are they late? Are they showing as late payments? Are they showing as in collections? Are they charged off? What have you? And then again, how many of them are there? Right.
Right.
There's no set value, but I will tell you that medical bills, if done properly, are some of the easiest things to get removed from your credit reports, right? But you got to know where to start, or you go get professionals.
Right.
And
That's right. Hire the professionals.
right, and there's a lot of people I run into that says, well, why would I pay for something that I can do myself? Well, you can make a cheeseburger,
Right.
but McDonald's still sells 70 million cheeseburgers every second.
That's right. That's
Right?
right.
It's more convenient, it's faster, and you always get what you want. Right.
Right. Right.
Um, some other tricks that you can do is there's programs out there that will help you get your rent reported to the credit bureaus
Mhm.
as a positive trade line.
Right.
Our specific company will get you up to 2 years if that's what you want.
Okay.
So if you've been paying your rent, now if you ain't been paying your rent on time, then you don't want to use this.
Right. Absolutely not.
But if you pay your rent on time, we can go back as far as 2 years and help you get that reported as a positive trade line on your credit reports. Now,
Absolutely.
people who have taken advantage of that have reported anywhere between 50 and 120 points increase just by doing that.
Wow, that's
right?
amazing.
Right.
And is that on, does that only work with does that only work with actual companies, or can you do that? Would you be able to do that with the private owner as well? Because I wonder how that would fit into, like with my tenants. Like I have tenants that intend to purchase,
Mhm.
and they may exactly like, I try to build a relationship with them where when they are ready to buy, they will, and I'm honored to help them, right? So now how would I, as a property manager, would I how would that program work? Like, can they actually do that with a private owner, or does it have to be like a apartment complex or something like that?
So, hypothetically speaking, I'm renting a house from you,
Okay.
and you're my landlord. You're the owner of the home. And
Hmm.
I enroll in our program called Credit My Rent.
Okay.
The company will then, I'll fill out this information. The company will call you as my landlord to verify that everything that I'm saying is true. And once it's verified, they will report it to the credit bureaus. So it
Mm.
doesn't have to be an apartment complex. It could be a private owner. It could be your roommate, right? It could be
Mm.
your roommate if you're paying rent. There's no paperwork involved other
That's
than
a major key right there. That's a major key. Hey, you guys, if you are listening, if you're out there in rental world,
Mhm.
if you're out there in rental world, Trade Solutions has an option where you can get your rent reported and go up 50 to 120 points now.
Mhm.
Now that is real. Those of you with those leases coming up, and you know that you've saved quite a bit of money not partying this year for Corona. You've been home just drinking Corona. Well, guess what? Next year you can own, just report your rent. I know everybody's been paying. I mean, I know a lot of people have been doing pretty well during this time. So although it's a sad time, is also. But yep, okay. So that sounds really good. So now another thing that we wanted to mention was we had talked about, one second, let me check my note. Okay. So now another thing that we had talked about yesterday when we were kind of planning for the live, and I know our time is running down. Okay.
Mhm.
But we wanted to talk about the fact that right now, with as I've stated, we all know that it is a seller's market in Hampton Roads. But one of the things besides refinance that we see that has been holding up sellers from that actually do want to move and do have equity to move, from being able to sell their homes and put their homes on market, is the fact that they have equity but no good credit because they've been in the house. And now when this opportunity has presented itself, which we see continuing as a trend into 2021. So what are some suggestions that you would suggest for homeowners that have not, now we're not talking about homeowners that have necessarily went over into past due payments yet. That is another episode, you guys. We're going to talk about that stuff at another time. But I'm just talking about homeowners that were able to make it through this year, making their mortgage payments, but their other payments may have fallen down. Or, those of us that have had jobs or layoffs or reductions in income this year, what is something that they can begin to do um, before before contacting you, because they should contact you. We know that. That's the most important thing. But I'm saying, what are some of the things that they could do? Because I know you said knowing your credit is the biggest thing.
So, one of the places that they need to start is they need to go to annualcreditreport.com and download their free credit report from all three credit bureaus,
Hmm.
right? So they can see for themselves exactly where they stand. Okay. And they may notice some things that don't actually belong to them,
Hmm.
right? Um, and G.I. Joe used to say, knowing is half the battle, right? You remember
Hmm.
about the same age. I know you remember. Okay.
I do. I do. No, no, I remember. I remember.
So
My favorite was Thundercats, though. But okay, I'm sorry.
right, right. Right. So you have to start there. Um,
Hmm.
then all of those things that are derogatory, um, sometimes you can reach out to the company and negotiate for a lower balance,
Okay.
and you can settle those debts. Now, before you settle those debts, before you pay those debts that are charged off, get a letter of deletion from the company.
Okay.
Okay? That is basically a promise that when you settle this debt, they will remove that derogatory mark from your credit report.
You know what? Now, I have this, that's a big one. I'm kind of happy you brought that up because I have a couple of people that I know that have actually faced this situation where they, paid off the debt because it wasn't that high and it just been sitting there. It happens to the best of us, especially if we're not being super diligent on our credit.
Mhm.
So you may have something that reported 3 or 4 years ago, inexpensive, let's say less than 1,000, and you pay it off before getting any guidance and don't ask for the letter.
Mhm.
What is your recourse to have the remark removed if you didn't ask at the time? Because, oh, wait a minute, second part of this same question. Because I've seen in that same situation where, in the midst of paying it off and calling them to get the information to pay it off, they will say they don't do that.
Okay, so that's where the professionals come in at, right? Because people don't, a lot of people don't understand that it's your right based on the Fair Credit Reporting Act. It's your right to dispute all negative items on your credit reports. It's up to the credit bureaus to go back and verify that everything that is being reported by those creditors is 100% accurate, and it has to be up to date, and it has to be verifiable. Okay, so when you don't, if you pay something that was charged off, and you didn't have that letter of deletion for your credit reports, basically that promissory note, then there's nothing that says that they have to remove it. And you hear this all the time. Well, my credit is good, or I got this in collections or this in charge off, but I paid that off. And I'm like, so what? That doesn't mean you weren't late, right?
Right,
And as far as your credit report shows, you were late.
right.
So you need a team of professionals that will go and dispute those negative items on your behalf. Now,
Hmm.
anything can be disputed. Anything, bankruptcies, medical bills, late payments, charge-offs, tax liens, you name it. Anything and everything can be disputed. You'd be amazed what you can do. Now, if you do it yourself, it's going to take some time. And I'm not going to tell you that you can't do it yourself, but it does take time, and it does take patience, and it takes persistence,
Hmm.
right? You want something that's going to keep you honest, and something that's going to make it easier for you and fast. For some reason, and I get it, we're in a technology era, right? Everything is expected to happen fast. Well, if you want it
Yeah.
to happen fast, you need to turn it over to professionals.
Hmm. That's for sure. I mean, no, I definitely hear what you're saying about that because I've been, around a couple of blocks, and I know that there are many strategies in paying off debt and getting debt removed and things like that. And it is a complicated process. Just like you said, it may not be something that is worth the effort versus your time. So you think about that for the amount that you could pay monthly to have someone working on it on your behalf with a check-in, with an update, and with real results. The money that you save on the time of making the mistakes and taking extended amount of time, because you may get it right, you may not. And so it could just extend the time. It's so many sensitivities with credit. I definitely do suggest to get a credit specialist. I
Mhm.
definitely do suggest to get a credit specialist. However, it is good to be able to get insights from a credit specialist so that there you can have that assistance along the way as you are beginning to do it. So now, one of the last things I wanted to talk about or ask you was, how do you feel about Credit Karma?
So Credit Karma is a great tool to get an idea, right? To get an idea of where you start. Credit Karma is a great tool for that, and for that only, in my opinion. And this,
Okay.
okay, on Credit Karma, um, sometimes when you scroll down, it says that these are the credit cards that you'll be approved for. A good rating, a good chance, or a fair chance, or whatever, right? I want you to understand that those credit cards pay Credit Karma to advertise for them.
Right.
Okay, um, that doesn't mean that those are the best cards out there for you.
Hmm.
It takes a lot more research to find the best cards. Okay. Now it's a good start for knowing how many accounts you have in collections, how many accounts you have charged off, your credit card balances, and it's good for that. But I want you to understand that 9 times out of 10, your 3 credit reports differ. Okay, they're different, and because they're different, people say, "Well, it's wrong." Well, no, it might not be wrong.
Hmm.
your creditors by law are required to report to one of the three credit bureaus.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them report to all three.
Mm-hmm.
So you may see where you have Navy Federal on one credit report, and on the other credit report it's not there. That
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that that report's not wrong and that report's not right. It's just that Navy Federal doesn't report to them, right?
Right.
You don't know when you go to apply for a mortgage or a car loan or a credit card, you don't know which credit bureau that bank is going to run your credit with,
Right. You don't. You
right?
don't. And then another thing with that said is also that, like you said, it is only a general idea, but
Mhm,
also in purchasing a home and securing a mortgage.
mhm,
In securing a mortgage, the lender is going to take your middle score.
mhm.
So, of the three credit bureaus, a lender is going to take and use your middle score. So, if you have a 620, a 720, and a 660, the 660 is the number that you'll be qualifying for your mortgage on. And I have seen there be swings of 100 points because you may have 5 accounts on TransUnion and 9 accounts on Equifax. So that's one of the reasons why, in preparing to invest or to purchase a home, or any of your investments, you want to make sure that what is reporting is accurate and is actual debts that you either currently hold, have defaulted and are working on, or are debts that you have long term, like mortgage, student loans, medical bills for most people, you know. So that's definitely some good information. Is there anything else besides your contact information, besides some of the programs that you think would be best for those of us that may be looking to purchase and or sell and purchase again in the next 6 to 12 months, Trey?
Mhm. So I want to give everybody a little bit of free game. Okay.
Free game time. Hold up, Trey. Alert, alert, alert. Alert, alert. This is not the first time. This is the second time you got free game today. Flawless family. Woo.
Okay, so those credit cards that we talked about, right? Once
Mhm.
you get them down to 30% or under 10%, this is how I want you to use those credit cards. Okay. For number one, when that bill hits for the previous month, now you can't go to Kroger today, go get all your groceries, pay with your credit card, then walk out, get in your car and pay it off. Okay.
Mhm.
Because what happens is that balance never existed to the credit bureaus because your balance doesn't get reported until the end of the billing cycle. Okay.
Mm.
So you have to wait until the bill hits. Once
Okay.
the bill hits, I want you to pay half of what you spent last month.
Okay.
15 days later, I want you to pay the other half.
Right.
Okay? You do that month after month after month, you are tricking the credit bureaus into believing that you are making two full payments on these credit cards every month.
Okay.
That's going to do that's going to make a big difference on your credit score.
Okay.
Another thing, when these creditors contact you, if you have things in collections or charged off or whatever, when they contact you, do not stay on the phone with them. Okay, they are trying to get you to admit that you owe the bill. If you
Right.
admit that you owe the bill, then it makes it hard to dispute.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, what they're reporting has to be 100% accurate. But if you admit that it's yours, then right, it's yours because
It's
you
yours.
said
Yeah,
it, right?
absolutely.
So stay, get off the phones with them. Okay.
So let me ask you this. So when they call and they say, hello, is this so and so and so and so? And then they say, in order to, continue to call. So that's at the point you should hang up.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes.
Did you hear that, guys? Don't give them your new address.
Right. Don't
Pay
give.
it off. Pay it off.
Don't give them
Don't, no,
anything.
don't give them that new address. You just pay it off.
Right. Third thing, because I got two more things I want to give you.
Okay, perfect.
The third thing that I want to give you is never dispute items online. Okay.
That's major key. Never dispute online. I'm writing that one down for myself.
It makes it hard for you to support, for you to upload supporting documentation, even if they have the option for you to for you to upload supporting documentation. It's extremely hard, and most times they don't have that option.
Mm-hmm.
So don't dispute items online. Okay.
Okay.
And finally, let's break the generational curse, right? Once you get those credit cards under 30%, add your kids as authorized users. Okay. If you're going to keep them under the 30%, add your kids as authorized users. That will make sure that your kids, when they turn 18, they have a credit score, right? So when they go to get that first car or they go to buy their house, they're not starting from zero,
Right.
right? That's something that you can start for them right now.
Absolutely.
And the younger, the better.
Right. Absolutely.
That's
So
all I got for free game.
I know that's right. I gotta, okay, wait a minute. I gotta go over this again because I think I missed number 2. Okay. I got trick the system into 2 full payments.
Mhm,
Make one payment as soon as the balance from last month hits,
mhm,
and another payment exactly 15 days later. Split it up,
mhm,
right?
mhm.
So if you spent 300, 150 at the end of the month, 150 on the 15th.
Right.
Got it. What was number 2? Where is it at? What was number 2?
What you got for number 3?
I have never dispute online.
Okay.
And then number 4, I have under 30%. Add your kids as
Oh,
authorized users.
number 2 was hang the phone up.
Oh, hang up that phone. That's right. Don't give no new information. That's why I forgot that one. That don't apply to me. Sorry. Hey, you guys, hang that phone up. Hang up the phone. Free game from Trey Solutions now. So let's run it back down. I'm gonna tell it for everybody because I know Trey got to go. He has appointments, so you need to get in contact with him. Share him your information.
Okay, so you can call me at 757-407-6593. You can follow me on Facebook at Motivate My Credit. That's one word, at Motivate My Credit. And you can follow me on Instagram at TRE_solutions.
All right. Well, you know what, Flawless family, I just want to run it down one more time. The last little free game. And of course, you'll be able to replay this on the Flawless Real Estate Team Live. I'm going to try to post it on the Instagram Live. And of course, it'll be on both our YouTubes, Trey Solutions and then Flawless Real Estate Team on YouTube. This is another episode of Tierra Around Tidewater. I hope you got something from this. If you learned something, click a like. If you have a comment, please share it with us. If you want to connect, you can connect directly with me. Woo, I'm your teammate on the other end of the line. All my information is down below because if you found this, you can definitely find me. And I look forward and will be honored to work with you because I'm honored to serve. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And you guys be safe and blessed. We'll see you on the next episode, or I will see you, and you can connect with Trey on the next episode of Tierra Around Tidewater.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.